Cool. And so how's AI been leveraged to, I guess, enhance accessibility in user interfaces for a more inclusive user experience? And
I think you're seeing this in a couple of different ways. We've already seen the power of smaller models, pre-trained models like BERT and the like from Google, in terms of generating text off of an image. So being able to take an image and auto-generate that caption. And then it got built into products like Keynote and PowerPoint, et cetera. So they're automatically pushing an accessibility experience as the default. And I think that's been one of the most wonderful things about this journey to Gen AI, is that there was a very early moment where the technology was kind of almost from the get-go doing these interesting accessibility and innovation moves. And there's some really great scholarship out there by people like Mara Mills and Jonathan Stern that look at, specifically for deaf communities, the accessibility angle has always been a huge source of innovation that then generalizes and scales in amazing ways. And I think that's somewhat the journey that you're seeing Gen AI on, is that it's going from this tool that, these small tools that were doing things like prompting captions or allowing you to do voice interaction to ask what a thing is, to now where we're at, it's becoming the standard. If you think about things like voice remotes, they're going to get even more intense and be able to interact with you in even more ways. And that's a huge accessibility gain for user experience, for user experience hardware for accessible communities. You're going to get to a place where, these generative models have seen enough accessibility technology that they can take the first pass at generating what, a mobility accessible controller for video games would look like. And I think you see Microsoft and Sony doing incredible work in that regard. And I think it's just going to continue to evolve, because what these generative, pre-trained transformers essentially do is they bring together in a utopian way, the genius of the internet, and they allow you to start leveraging that genius at scale to find the right questions, and then find answers and then drive answers to those right questions. There is a darker side to it as well, right? It's not all utopian like accessibility. Those captioning bots do get things wrong. The voice to text translation is sometimes terrible for people that are living with speech disabilities. There's moments where the accessible technology doesn't match up to the lives that people live, right? And so it's not a single silver bullet at the end of the day. What it is it's a pathway to find better solutions to those problems. At the end of the day, when we're thinking about accessible tech, it comes back to the foundations of those early scholars and activists around disability who remind us that, people who live with disabilities aren't themselves disabled like naturally. It's a social process that builds institutions and ways of doing things and buildings and media that is basically excluding them. And so I think that's one of the promises and exciting things that from just like an accessibility standpoint, we can start to prod at and think about and dig into with Gen AI.
Yeah, like, it's obviously great. It's make it more inclusive for people. But like I said, you've got to be more. It's like new, like anything new, isn't it? It's a learning process. There's going to be errors, so you've got to be mindful of that. Because obviously, you see now, obviously, like you can do texts, just speaking and things like that. It makes life a lot easier, and it's obviously great for other people as well.